What happens when imagination outruns patience and the network hits stop before the story even begins to unfold? The 1970s were packed with ambitious science fiction dreams, lost worlds, cosmic odysseys, and deep space mysteries. Yet many shows vanished before audiences even realized how good they were. Were they too expensive, too weird, or just too far ahead of their time? Stick around, because we're diving into 12 unforgettable sci-fi series that burned bright, changed the game, and disappeared far too soon. Number 12. Arc 2, 1976. Imagine a world where civilization has collapsed and a handful of scientists travel across the wastelands to rebuild what's left of humanity. That was Arc 2, a Saturday morning gem from Filmation that blended post-apocalyptic adventure with hope and moral lessons. The setup was simple yet striking. In the 25th century, 3 young explorers, a talking chimp named Adam, and a futuristic vehicle called the Ark II roamed the Earth, restoring knowledge to lost tribes. Each episode felt like a short parable, part Mad Max, part Bible story, minus the violence. The Ark itself was a star, a sleek silver laboratory truck cruising through deserts and ruins, recycling air and purifying water. The show dared to dream that science could fix what greed destroyed. But producing a clean apocalypse wasn't cheap. Those outdoor shoots in California's desolate valleys ate up the budget, and even though kids loved it, older viewers never tuned in. CBS quietly ended Arc 2 after just 1 season, leaving the crew's mission unfinished. Yet its message of environmental renewal and cooperation feels more relevant than ever. It was smart, sincere, and full of heart. A show that believed in the future when most just feared it. Canceled too soon, without a doubt. Arc 2 proved optimism can be just as thrilling as destruction. Number 11. Future Cop, 1976. Before RoboCop or The Terminator ever hit the big screen, there was Future Cop. Airing in 1976, it followed Los Angeles police officers as they tested a new recruit, one secretly built in a lab. His name was Haven, an android designed to assist real cops in their daily duties. Think classic cop show meets early artificial intelligence. The concept was pure gold, decades ahead of its time. Michael Shannon played Haven with an eerie calm that hinted at both innocence and danger. He wasn't perfect. His learning glitches created tension and comedy in equal measure. The show balanced humor and philosophy, asking whether technology could truly understand justice, empathy, or loyalty. It wasn't about violence. It was about control, conscience, and the limits of human invention. But here's where it gets messy. Networks didn't know how to market it. Was it a police drama, a sci-fi experiment, a parody? Ratings lagged because audiences couldn't figure out what they were watching. After a few episodes, ABC canceled it, yet the concept wouldn't die. Years later, its ideas resurfaced in movies and series that became pop culture staples. Future Cop might have short-circuited early, but it laid the groundwork for every story that dared to ask, what if the next hero wasn't human? Number 10. Kolchak, The Night Stalker, 1974. Every city has its myths. Every myth has a hunter. Kolchak. The Night Stalker gave us Karl Kolchak, a rumpled, relentless newspaper reporter who kept stumbling upon mysteries that defied logic. Vampires, shapeshifters, invisible foes. You name it, he chased it with nothing but a tape recorder and a stubborn streak a mile wide. Played by Darren McGavin, Kolchak was no superhero. He was tired, broke, and usually laughed out of the newsroom, but that's what made him great. He represented every ordinary person who's ever seen something extraordinary and been told they imagined it. Week after week, Kolchak uncovered dark secrets hidden in modern America, blending noir grit with supernatural wonder. Audiences loved the eerie tone, but the network didn't. The show was expensive, tricky to write, and too strange for primetime executives who wanted predictable police dramas. After just 20 episodes, Kolchak was gone. Yet its fingerprints are everywhere. Chris Carter, creator of The X-Files, called it a direct inspiration. Without Kolchak, Mulder and Scully might never have existed. Canceled too soon? Definitely. Kolchak. The Night Stalker didn't just explore monsters. It showed how truth itself can become the scariest thing to chase. Number 9. Sapphire and Steel, 1979. If Doctor Who was a cosmic adventure, Sapphire and Steel was a fever dream trapped between time and logic. Premiering in Britain in 1979, it starred Joanna Lumley and David McCallum as mysterious agents sent to fix ruptures in time. Their cases weren't about aliens or explosions. They were about ghosts, memory, and the invisible cracks that appear when time itself starts to break. The show's atmosphere was chilling. Rooms froze in midair, clocks ticked backward, and forgotten nursery rhymes summoned forces older than the universe. The dialogue was cryptic, the lighting eerie, and the pace hypnotic. Watching it felt like stepping into a lucid dream that refused to end. But Sapphire and Steel wasn't built for casual audiences. It demanded patience and imagination. Viewers who wanted laser fights got riddles instead. Still, for those who stayed, it was mesmerizing. Critics praised its originality, yet low budgets and network confusion ended it after 6 brief stories. The final episode closed on a haunting cliffhanger that still sparks debates today. Canceled too soon? Absolutely. Sapphire and Steel remains one of the most unsettling and intelligent sci-fi series ever produced, a show that proved the scariest monsters aren't out there in space. They're hiding inside time itself. Number 8. Battlestar Galactica, 1978. Before the glossy reboot, there was the original Battlestar Galactica, a space epic that promised the saga of a star world. Premiering in 1978, it followed the survivors of 12 colonies wiped out by their own creations. Their only hope, a lone fleet led by Commander Adama, searching for a mythical planet called Earth. The show was enormous. Real spacecraft models filled sound stages. Visual effects rivaled Star Wars, and the orchestral music gave every scene a cinematic punch. Viewers were blown away. For a moment, ABC believed they had the next pop culture phenomenon on their hands. Then came the reality check. Cost. Each episode ran nearly $1 million, a staggering number for television at the time. The ratings were solid, but the accountants weren't happy. After just 1 season, the fleet was grounded. Fans protested with letters, petitions, and fan clubs demanding a revival. Their noise eventually brought a short-lived sequel, Galactica 1980, but the magic was gone. Even so, Battlestar Galactica became legendary. Its mythology, visual style, and moral complexity influenced generations of storytellers. Canceled too soon? Completely. It wasn't just a show. It was a universe cut short right as it began to expand. Number 7. Quark, 1977. What if Star Trek had a sense of humor about itself? That's what Quark dared to ask in 1977. Created by Buck Henry, the genius behind Get Smart, this quirky half-hour comedy followed Adam Quark, a space garbage collector who dreamed of being a hero. Instead of captaining a warship, he commanded a crew of misfits cleaning cosmic trash for the United Galaxy Sanitation Patrol. The show was pure satire, equal parts science fiction and absurd workplace comedy. Quark's crew included a cowardly robot, 2 identical clone sisters who constantly argued over which was the real one, and a plant-based first officer who could photosynthesize when nervous. The humor poked fun at every sci-fi trope imaginable: evil doubles, time warps, and over-the-top villains who talk too much. Despite its clever writing and slick design, Quark only lasted 8 episodes. NBC didn't know what to do with it. Viewers expecting serious adventure tuned out. And those looking for straight comedy didn't quite get the intergalactic jokes. But over time, it became a cult classic, especially among writers who admired how it mocked and loved its genre at the same time. Canceled too soon? Totally. Quark proved that science fiction could laugh at itself and still soar among the stars. Today, its humor feels sharper than ever, a relic of an era when even the smallest spaceship could carry big ideas. Number 6. The Star Lost, 1973. Few shows aimed higher, or crashed harder, than The Star Lost. Conceived by science fiction legend Harlan Ellison, it promised to be the most ambitious series of the decade. The concept was breathtaking. In the distant future, Earth is gone, and humanity survives aboard a massive generation ship containing isolated domes, each preserving a different culture. 3 young wanderers discover the ship's failing systems and embark on a journey to save it, On paper, it was revolutionary, a philosophical odyssey through the wreckage of civilization. In practice, it was chaos. Budget cuts forced the creators to abandon high-end visual effects, replacing them with cheap chroma key backgrounds and stiff dialogue. Ellison famously walked away, furious at what television did to his vision. Still, underneath the shaky execution was a brilliant idea about isolation, ignorance, and the collapse of collective memory. Viewers who stuck with it saw flashes of greatness, haunting storylines about forgotten technology, lost humanity, and the hope that knowledge could rebuild what was broken. The Star Lost lasted only 16 episodes before being quietly abandoned, yet its influence lingers. You can feel its DNA in shows like Star Trek, The Next Generation, and The Expanse. Canceled too soon? Maybe not technically, but too brilliant to ignore. The Star Lost was a failed masterpiece that still dares you to imagine what could have been. Number 5. Space, 1999, 1975. Few television openings hit harder than this one. A nuclear explosion blasts the moon out of orbit, hurling it, and its human base, into the depths of space. That was Space, 1999, the most expensive sci-fi series ever produced in Britain when it debuted in 1975. Starring Martin Landau and Barbara Bain, it was sleek, stylish, and wildly ambitious. Each episode followed the stranded crew of Moonbase Alpha as they drifted through strange galaxies, encountering alien civilizations, psychic phenomena, and existential threats. The sets gleamed with futuristic precision, and the models of spaceships and moonscapes were miniature marvels. It felt cinematic, like 2001, a space odyssey adapted for television. But the ambition came at a cost, literally. The show's budget ballooned, and its pacing, more European than American, confused U.S. audiences who wanted action over atmosphere. Critics were divided. Some hailed it as intelligent and moody, others dismissed it as slow and cold. After 2 seasons, the funding ran dry, leaving the moon to drift forever through deep space. Yet its legacy is enormous. Space, 1999, inspired a generation of visual designers and writers. You can still see its fingerprints in Alien, Star Trek, the motion picture, and modern space dramas that value mood as much as mayhem. Canceled too soon? No question. Space, 1999, made science fiction beautiful, and paid the ultimate price for daring to dream. Number 4. UFO, 1970. Before Space 1999, producer Jerry Anderson launched a smaller but equally striking show, UFO. This was no puppet series like his earlier Thunderbirds, or Stingray. This was live action, stylish, and bold. The premise: in the near future, Earth is secretly under attack by alien forces, and a covert organization called SHADO, Supreme Headquarters Alien Defense Organization, fights to keep humanity safe. From moon bases to flying interceptors hidden beneath lakes, UFO looked incredible. The silver jumpsuits, purple-haired operatives, and sleek vehicles screamed retro-futurism. But beneath the glam, the stories were surprisingly adult and emotional. It wasn't just about aliens. It was about paranoia, sacrifice, and the toll of endless vigilance. The episode where Commander Straker faces a choice between saving his son or defending Earth remains one of television's most gut-wrenching moments. Yet for all its creativity, UFO struggled with ratings and inconsistent scheduling. Some regions aired episodes out of order, confusing audiences. Despite solid international fan support, it was cut short after 1 season. Anderson took the ideas he couldn't finish and poured them into his next creation, Space, 1999. Canceled too soon? Absolutely. UFO combined Cold War tension with futuristic flair, proving that sci-fi could look glamorous and still hit hard emotionally. Its legacy shines like moonlight, bright, stylish, and unmistakably haunting. Number 3. Logan's Run, 1977. When MGM turned its hit movie Logan's Run into a TV series, expectations were sky high. The film had wowed audiences with its vision of a perfect society that killed its citizens at age 30. The series picked up after Logan, now a fugitive, escapes that world and searches for a hidden sanctuary with his companion Jessica and their android ally Rem. The show had everything going for it: a popular premise, a talented cast, and a world ready to explore freedom beyond control. But network interference and low budgets dimmed its potential. Gone were the film's lavish sets and the deep social commentary, replaced by repetitive chases across recycled studio backlots. Still, buried within its episodic structure were sparks of brilliance. Episodes about memory manipulation, artificial gods, and lost technology hinted at what it could have been. Despite a strong start, CBS canceled it after just 14 episodes. Fans never got closure or a final destination. Yet Logan's Run remains a fascinating relic of 70s television. Too daring for its time, too expensive for its slot, but too imaginative to forget. Canceled too soon? Definitely. Logan's Run was a story about rebellion, and ironically, it couldn't escape the system that created it. Number 2, The Fantastic Journey, 1977. It began with a storm and ended in the unknown. The Fantastic Journey premiered in 1977 with one of the most mysterious setups in television. A group of scientists and travelers find themselves lost in the Bermuda Triangle, only to emerge in a strange, timeless world where civilizations from every era coexist. Ancient Greeks, futuristic colonies, and telepathic beings all shared the same impossible landscape. It was Lost decades before Lost. The stranded group, led by the steady Jared Martin, and joined by a telepath named Liana and a wise Atlantean named Varian, had to survive and find a way home while confronting bizarre societies and moral dilemmas. Each episode explored philosophical themes like destiny, knowledge, and freedom. Some weeks it felt like fantasy, others pure science fiction. But the network never quite knew what it had. NBC promoted it as an action show, but its pace was cerebral, its tone hypnotic. Ratings started soft and never recovered. After just 10 episodes, it vanished into the mist, leaving fans desperate for answers that never came. Still, The Fantastic Journey became a cult phenomenon. Its blend of metaphysical ideas and serialized adventure would later echo in shows like Sliders and Stargate SG-1. Canceled too soon? No question. It proved television could mix philosophy and science fiction long before audiences learned to expect it. The real mystery wasn't the Bermuda Triangle. It was why this show ever disappeared. Number 1. Planet of the Apes, 1974. At the height of the franchise's popularity, Planet of the Apes swung onto television screens with enormous expectations, and almost as quickly fell off the air. Premiering in 1974, the series continued the saga of a future Earth ruled by intelligent apes, following two stranded astronauts, Alan Verdon and Pete Burke, who crash land in a society where humans serve as slaves. It had everything: makeup effects rivaling the films, a thoughtful script about oppression and understanding, and Roddy McDowall returning in a new role as the sympathetic chimp Galen. Each week, the trio journeyed through villages and cities, encountering guerrilla enforcers, ambitious orangutans, and humans struggling to survive in a world turned upside down. Beneath the adventure, though, was a strong moral core. Episodes dealt with prejudice, fear, and the value of compassion in a divided world. Critics admired the depth, but the ratings told another story. CBS scheduled it opposite major hits, and audiences drifted. Production costs soared, and by the 14th episode, the network pulled the plug. The season ended without closure, leaving viewers to wonder whether the astronauts ever found their way home. But time has been kind to Planet of the Apes. Its storytelling and social commentary age beautifully, and later generations recognized it as one of the smartest sci-fi shows of the decade. Canceled too soon? Completely. It wasn't just a spin-off, it was a reminder that great stories don't need to end happily to echo forever. So there it is, 12 bold experiments from the 1970s that flew too close to the stars. They were canceled, forgotten, or misunderstood, but never ordinary. One tried to stretch what television could imagine, and even their failures pushed the genre forward. Maybe that's the real lesson of lost sci-fi. Brilliance doesn't always last, but it always leaves a trace. Which of these do you wish had gotten a second season? Let us know and stay curious, because imagination never truly ends.